Good morning. Got my coffee in hand. Hope you got yours. You know, this is just the second video that I've done, and as I've always taught my grandchildren, practice makes better every time. So I'll keep practicing until I get this talking on video down to the best of my ability. So please bear with me. Today's topic is going to be about background. But before I do that, I need to make a correction from what I said yesterday. And this will happen sometimes, you know. Yesterday I said I was 43 when I was diagnosed with autism. But I was born in 1966 and I was diagnosed in 2007. That would have made me 41. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes numbers and dates and stuff can get jumbled in my head. And when I catch that, I'll correct it. That's just all part of this background stuff and the change and getting things organized in my head. So anyway, that's out of the way. You know, I want to talk about background because I know when you look at me, you may not see somebody with autism. I have a lot of friends and acquaintances who say, man, I wouldn't have known you had autism if you didn't tell me. Do you know what I say to that? Yay! Woo! If you'd have known me years ago, you'd have a different perspective. That's hard to say. But that's what this is all about. You know, there's a broad spectrum of autism. And everybody falls someplace on that spectrum. And this story is about where I fell on that spectrum and how did I get to be here today looking at you in the face and saying, I have autism. How did I get to be in the now? That's what this story is all about. And it's my personal journey. There have been many who have been along with me on this journey who can testify that what I say is true. But it's not about that. I'm not doing this for that reason. I'm doing this for the children. The ones that I want to help make that transition into this world and interact with this world and to see all the wonderful things this world has to offer. I want to make that transition as smooth as I can for them. I do not want them to go through what I've gone through. And that's my goal. So, to that end, let me say, let's get back to where I was. 50 years ago, you know, nobody knew anything about autism. A person like me was just put in an institution. And again, I don't want to see art. Sometimes I have to take a moment. I've never talked about myself or my past. And that's okay because I'm making changes, I'm growing forward, and I'm not afraid to show myself. When I was a little girl, you know, I was taken to the doctor so many times because I'd say, well, she just can't hear. My mother would say to her friends, she just sits in a room all by herself for hours. She don't have any friends. She just sits there and talks to herself. And then my mother used to say to me, I just need some sort of affection from you. And I'd say, well, just tell me what you want me to do. As a mother, that's another cup of coffee. Because I can only imagine what my mother went through. I sat in my room or anywhere for 7 or 8 hours at a time, just rocking. There was no eye contact. I didn't know how to ask a question. There were no thoughts in my head. How could I ask a question? But I could answer some basic questions. If you said, what's your name? Where do you live? You know, I could answer those. But if you asked me a question that I had to think about the answer, I'd give you a blank stare or I might have a meltdown. I need another sip on that one. A meltdown. What does a meltdown look like? I felt dizzy. My heart sped up. I couldn't see anymore. My mouth would open, but no words would come forth. Sometimes I would hyperventilate and fall on the floor. Sometimes I would just vomit. And no one around me knew what was happening. Nobody knew how to help me. And when I was young, they put people like me in institutions. 50 years ago, nobody knew anything about what was happening. None of my senses worked, but I'll talk about my senses tomorrow. Today I want to focus on, what my daddy did to try to help me to be here. To protect me, he used to teach me things to try to hide it because, that's all he knew to do. He would take me to Houston and we'd sit on park benches and we'd go to different places and he'd say, watch this person, watch that person, Okay, I'm watching, but I don't remember what they look like. He said, it don't matter, just do what they do. He was trying to teach me to mimic. And as far as the eye contact, I didn't know how to do it, but Daddy would say, no, look at me, right here, look at me. Look me in, right here, look here. And as soon as I looked there, I'd feel his energy change. And he felt so proud. And that's what I wanted. And so I would keep trying to do it because I wanted that positive energy. Now, here's the thing with the eye contact. He taught me by doing that 1,000 million times to look people in the eye. He never taught me that I was supposed to look away. So for like 20 years, I'd stare at people in the eye and make them totally uncomfortable because I couldn't lose eye contact. He never taught me to look away. I can only imagine how people around me must have felt, because I'll just stare at them. I was afraid if I didn't look at them, then I wasn't listening to them. I don't know what I thought. It doesn't really matter, but that's the deal with the eyes, But, there's another thing he'd made me do that I didn't understand. He'd make me walk around with a book on my head. I don't know why, but I did it. He just tried everything. But, it was like living a shell of a life. No one was home. Well, that's a wrap. Just remember, everyone has a story to tell. And this is just mine.